Men on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Evan Cohen and Mike Babchick.
All right, welcome back to the show. Evan Cohen, Mike Babchick, Morning Man, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM 82. I mean, how do we even introduce this guy? He's a king, he's a god, he's Pitbull. He's not the king of Sirius XM.
Pitbull in the house.
I
appreciate that.
Second channel. We're going to get into this. This is now your second channel that you're involved with Sirius XM in your lifetime.
Well, I've been very, very blessed.
Yeah, I would say so. But you earned it.
Definitely. Yeah, you're right, man. Just working hard. I always say, if somebody come up on me and say, "You're so lucky, Chico," I say, "Man, harder I work, lucky I get."
Slam radio is what it is. Now, this is a school.
You got slam radio, yeah, and then you got globalization. So it's definitely a blessing.
So I just want to talk about slam for a second. So this is a school in Miami.
Yes,
that is initially where it started. But we're sports guys. I wish I went to this school. People, explain this to people because and I believe Eric Spoelstra, the coach of the Heat's wife, actually is a dance instructor at the school.
Yes, she's a dance instructor,
right?
and was a teacher also.
She ain't ugly.
Yeah, she's gorgeous and a great girl. And it's funny because we actually have worked together on award shows. And before the school was built, she told me at an award show, "By the way, I'm going to your school to apply to be a teacher there." Not only did she become a teacher, she became a dance instructor also. So
it just goes to get her the job, or you let her go through the process?
No, not at all. No, through the process, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm always, I'll talk to you straight, but nah, she definitely earned it. And SLAM is basically sports, leadership, arts, and management. That's what it stands for. And all we did was just take education and what I've done my whole life and remix it. So we took, let's just say, an algebraic equation. I always use this as an example because I don't think there's too many people out there that particularly like algebra.
Right, exactly.
So let's just say X is the 40-yard line, Y is they got 10 seconds, and Z is they need 6 points. So now you got the kids engaged, and they love it. And
that's amazing. That's math you could do. I can get into that.
Yeah, I bet you could get into it. Right. And not only that, it's just I feel like sports is something that teaches you very valuable lessons in life. Things such as discipline, things such as teamwork, things such as being punctuality, things such as the harder you work, the better you get. You know, they say practice makes perfect, and perfect don't exist. So you got to keep practicing.
That is saying you have. But Slam Radio is coming to Sirius XM. No, I'm not kidding. I would say, like, I wrote down in my notes for you to give your top 3 Pitbull-isms.
Pitbull-isms?
Top 3, because there's a lot of them that I've heard from you.
I would say one that I always say at the show: if you don't know where you're from, you don't know where you're going.
Heard that from you.
Right.
Yeah. Like that.
If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Right.
And my favorite one, which is, it comes from a Spanish saying, which is pasos corto, vista larga, which is short steps, long vision.
I like that.
Oh, that is good.
Especially in today's society where everybody lives by instant gratification.
Right. So when you say, if you don't know where you're from, you don't know where you're going.
Yes, sir.
Cuba, Georgia, Miami. Where are you from?
No, I'm a Miami boy.
I know.
Born and raised Dade County, 305.
I think it's interesting, though, your story, because you're Cuban American. Your parents came, your ancestors in Cuba. Mm-hmm. Yet a little known story that I didn't realize was that you spent time in Georgia because your mom, who's your biggest influence, I know, was like, "Listen, I can't handle this right now. I'll get you back when I'm ready. I'm putting you in a better situation."
Yeah, basically that's what it was. What happened was that my sister got pregnant at about 15, 16 years old, and then figured out that she could have the baby and not get in the trouble with her boyfriend at the time, or husband, or God knows what it was, to be honest with you, by going to Georgia. And what I mean by that is because he was older. So therefore, my mom went up to Georgia. I went with her. We got into a situation there, and my mother said, "Well, look, man," and she had 2 to 3 jobs at the time. Didn't want me living. She lived in a basement, and didn't want me living in the basement with her. So there was a family that, I would say, basically fell in love with me. And she said, "Hey, can you take care of my son for X amount of time?" And I lived with them for, I would say, about maybe 6 months. And when I lived with them, one day they happened to mention to me the daughter. She said, "Oh, my parents are thinking of adopting you." I was in 2nd grade,
right?
And I spoke to my mom that day on the phone, and I said, "Mom, they said a word that starts with an A, like adopt," and she said, "Adopt?" I said, "Yeah, that's the word." She said, "All right, great. Can I cuss on this radio station?"
Yeah.
Okay, great. She said, "Well, look, you got 2 hours and get your shit together because I'm coming to get you."
You're coming home.
That's coming home. See,
yeah.
That, in some
I ended up
ways,
with a basement. Regardless. regardless. But hey, it just goes to show you, man. And let me tell you, my mom's my superhero, man. There's no way, shape, or form I'm here if it wasn't for her.
But in some ways,
literally.
Yeah, well, that's an obvious statement.
But in some ways, that explains, in many ways, you, because your mom was basically taking no S from anybody, was going to get her stuff done, work ethic, or the whole deal. I'm getting you back. I'm doing my job, and that's you. I mean, the thing that you're known for, I think, more than anything else, is working.
I mean,
constantly working.
Always.
Well, for one, thank you. That's an honor, and that's really the truth, man. I always say, I'm not the best rapper, I'm not the most talented musician, and none of that, but I will outwork you.
Yeah.
And I take that in as tremendous pride, because, to be honest with you, in Spanish, if you say the word talent, which is talento, it has a double meaning. So talento's talent, but also talento means very slow. So there's a lot of people got a lot of talent, but they very slow. It's almost like they're complacent.
Right.
You feel me? And us being hustlers, grinders, understanding opportunities, appreciating them, and working hard for them, I mean, there's nothing like it.
Talking with Pitbull, he's got Slam Radio, where he's actually giving kids the chance to actually broadcast, which is insane. He's got the school in Miami, and they're expanding left and right. He's also got the globalization. You talk about not being the best rapper. So being in South Florida for as long as I was,
yes, sir.
I remember you before everybody knew you.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Pitbull that people don't know about, and why that Pitbull couldn't become a millionaire doing it that way.
Well,
seriously, because this is the part of Pitbull that I think that people don't appreciate enough. How hard you worked to do it one way, how smart you were to adjust to do it another way.
I think more than anything is to show people growth, what it is to show them evolution, maturity, and I think that's what it's always about in any sport. Let's just say in football, you might call a play and then call an audible. You'll see something move quick. You say, okay, wait a second, we got to move this way. In basketball, that's what you got to pivot for, right? You pivot this way, pivot that way, and you get them in a triple threat. They don't know if you're going to shoot, if you're going to move.
Okay, Pitbull ain't playing.
Pitbull
ain't playing with the triple threat.
Yeah, so look at you.
So for me, it's the same way. You know, you gotta see an opportunity, and then for me, the opportunity was to be able to. Could I have been in the game and been able to be up there with the Jay-Z's of the game, the Biggs and Pacs? May they rest in peace. And those are people that I admire and I honor. Yes. Did I see a certain lane in the game and I say, wait a second, I can create my own lane. I can live on my own highway. I can live in my own city. Hold up, wait a second, boom, and that's what I seen.
But you were making music, for the streets, which the streets loved, and then you decided to make music for parties.
For sure, because, well, to be honest with you, and I always say, it's funny because I say this in the show sometimes, because some guys be like, oh, yeah, man, throw me that damn it, man, or do this. I say, yeah, that's great. I'm with you. I love it.
Right.
Okay? Now it's a hobby for me, to be honest with you. But I made music to get out the streets, not to stay in the streets. You feel me? So therefore, my mother always told me the pen is mightier than the sword. So therefore, I had to write things. I didn't want to write things that led people in the wrong direction. So in other words, I want to lead them in the right direction.
So Pitbull, I was thinking about asking you this, and now it almost doesn't make sense, but I'll kind of lead you to this path. So I was thinking, okay, so if Pitbull decided to make an album tomorrow, I know your greatest hits album is out now.
Yeah.
But if you were to say my next album is going to be 17-year-old Pitbull, the point is it would almost be fraudulent because that's not the life you're living. At that point, when you were spitting about it, that was the life you're living.
Well, it's never fraudulent as long as you speak about it from the right perspective. How should I say? I can't say, yo, I'm on the block hanging with such and such, selling this, doing that, busting that. No, I can't do that. Now, can I say, yo, I learned from the block from such and such, such and such, such and such, and this is what I've done with my life now?
Right.
Yes, it's still relevant. It's still real. But more than anything, now it's positive and leading you in the right direction. Now, what's fraudulent is 99% of the shit I'm listening to right now. And when I hear people rapping, I'm going, you got to be kidding me. There's certain people that are rapping about certain things and they don't even live in that city. I'm going, does anybody see this? With all the access that you guys have, what are you accessing? I mean, for me, when I grew up, Instagram was that, an instant gram. You know what I mean? It's different.
Give me one of those.
So it was such a different society, and now it was crazy to me. I'm a wordsmith. I live my life off words. I've built a career off of this. And words will tell you everything. All you got to do is just really look at them, analyze them. We live in a society where they're all about followers and likes. I'm confused. We, or what I grew up wanting to be around was leaders and people that made a difference.
Right.
You feel me? I didn't really care about what people thought about me, or to this day, I really don't, to be honest with you. But that's what allowed us to move forward. So for me, I look forward to put that album together that you're talking about, which will be called The Classic, because people that I looked up to coming up, you know, your Nas had Illmatic that disrupted the game. You had Wu-Tang with 36 Chambers. You had a Jay-Z with Reasonable Doubt. You had a Big with Ready to Die. You had, you know, Pac with numerous, you know, whether it was Machiavelli, whether it was All Eyes on Me.
I'll throw out there Pun's last album, but I freaking love Pun's last.
Yeah, which was, for me, and that's what I mean by you looked forward to listening to these records because you would catch the jewels that they were dropping.
Right.
Jay has a great line when he said grand opening, grand closing. Right? I never had a grand opening. I never got a chance to put out a classic. So now I'm going to be able to put out a classic, I would say like in 2020, and be able to give them my life. But not only give them my life, they'll be able to go back and go, oh my God, this guy was, it's all laid out at this point.
The greatest hits album out now. It's crazy to think that could happen. And you
17 years in the game, man.
It's crazy. And you said Disruption, and I know that you publicly pronounce your goals years in advance. And I think Disruption was one of them previously, right?
So 09 is Freedom. 2010 is Invasion. 11, Build Empire. 12, Grow Wealth. 13, Put the Puzzle Together. 14, Buckle Up. 15, Make History. 16, Disruption. 17, Gingerbread Man Plan. Find Me If You Can. 18, Off the Grid. 19, Create Generational Wealth. And 2020, Clear Vision, because that's when everybody's going to see it.
Wait, okay, let's go to 18 then, because we're right there, right? We're at the Slam Radio, right? So you're off the grid-ish, but Slam Radio is going to be out there. Globalization. You have the cruise in Miami. You've got the tour with Enrique. You've got all these things.
Yes, sir.
How does Pitbull, who's Mr. Worldwide, get off the grid?
I mean, off the grid, I do it all the time. Man. I'm a person that I'm not involved like that as far as the internet and access to all of that right there, because I feel that it's a lot of noise. It's a lot of things where people are wasting their time instead of – I'll give you a better one. Here you go. I'm about the bigger picture. I'm not about taking a picture. Okay.
Even though Kodak was a big theme of yours early
Kodak was a huge it was a great company to line up with. And mind you, who was a part of that campaign? Myself, Rihanna, Drake, Trey Songz. And that was in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. And that's why I say that in that record.
Yeah.
You know, as far as Give Me Everything. Take a picture of me with a Kodak, go to Times Square, which actually happened.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Right.
Anything we put in these records actually happened. And the thing about a Kodak picture, you know what the difference was? It actually caught the moment. It wasn't that perfect picture that people run around trying to take. Because, guys, let me tell you something. It's real simple. It doesn't exist. A perfect picture doesn't exist. What makes a perfect picture was the part where you could look at something and capture the moment and go, yo, I remember what I was thinking right there. They caught me with my mouth open and I was shouting at my cousin. You know, whatever it may be.
Not posing.
And not posing. You know, so now that we live in this society where everybody thinks that they need to be perfect, I'm just letting y'all know right now. You know what's perfect? It's being imperfect. That's the beautiful thing.
Are you ready to say no a lot in 2018? Because people offer you things, and I'm sure you said no before.
I work hard to say no.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, no is yes, and less is more. And what I mean by that is the more you say no to a deal, the more you say no to an opportunity in certain things, you got to work to get to that. Don't get me wrong, because before it's whatever you could take, you grab it and make the most of it. You know, but that's what, it's funny because they asked me that same question at a motivational speaking engagement. You know, is there things that you've said no to? I said, nah, that's what I've worked my whole life to be able to say, nah, you know, we straight on that one.
Have you talked with Pitbull, of course. He's got the radio, Slam Radio, Globalization Radio, the tour. He's got everything. The Greatest Hits album is out now. Have you thought, I want to say you're probably about 2 or 3 years away from this. Have you thought about the fact that you are almost a millionaire more years in your life than you are poor?
Oh, man.
Think about that for a second.
Man, let me tell you something.
How old are you right now, 36?
It's funny you say that. Look, check this out. I got a quote from Bob Marley I put on my phone right here.
Still with the BlackBerry, by the way.
That's right.
Look at that.
Yeah, you know what? I know the reason.
Yeah.
He's petrified of anybody getting into his cloud. None of our business.
Nah, I don't even get in the cloud. Only cloud I get on is my friend's boat. It's called In the Clouds. But this says it all. This quote from Bob Marley right here. And it says, some people are so poor, all they have is money. So therefore, with me, money does not define me. I think money is the biggest piece of shit ever been introduced to the human race, to be honest with you.
Why?
Because it's funny because it's the root of all evil, but the first place I read In God We Trust, ironically. It's people live their whole life to be, to succeed, success, and successful, right? That's what they live for. Oh, man, I'm successful. And they only knew, listen to the word. I go back with the word. Success. That's what it is. Success. You're giving people access to suck in excess. That's what money brings. So therefore, I say it in the record, Reign Over Me. People won't know what I got till they read the will. I'm not a person that brags about what we do and how we do it. So I've been very, very blessed to be able to be a part of music, which has been an escape for me.
Yeah.
And I've been very, very blessed to take music, create an avenue to invest in the education. Education, therefore, will forever live on. And for me, the pharaohs of Egypt show you, no matter how much money you got, properties or whatever you motherfucking own means nothing. Because even them that created pyramids that we still haven't figured out, and they put mazes in them, they got robbed. The pharaohs got robbed for trying to take what they made back with them. It's not about what you make. It's about what you leave behind. And that's what for me, is the biggest thing. Now, is money a passport? Yes. It allows you to come and go, but it doesn't make you. So for me, anybody that is like, I can give a fuck about a Forbes list. I can care less about how much money you got. Because matter of fact, most of the miserable people I know are billionaires. They got so much money, they're miserable.
But there's a lot of people who don't have anything, and they're miserable
happy.
too.
So the Forbes list I want to create, no, they're not. There's most of the people that I know that are happy are people that don't have money.
But Pitbull, here's what happens. And I genuinely believe you because I've heard enough about you and I see you physically in person to know that you're real. People listening will be like, oh, he can just say that because he's a millionaire, billionaire, whatever the heck you are. It's easier for you to, you know how it is.
Yeah. I mean, but I can say that because I come from nothing. So
you've
creating something from nothing is where I can literally talk this shit. And not only that, for me, it's getting to a certain level where when you do have something, you gotta give back. Not a responsibility, it's an obligation. So therefore, I come from one of the neighborhoods that I come from. They say, don't talk about it, be about it. So that's what
Carroll City, the area?
Well, Carroll City's one of them.
Yeah.
That saying comes from an area called Wynwood, which Wynwood went from the Heron capital to now it's the art capital, the art Mecca, which is where they do Art Basel now.
Art Basel, yeah.
You feel me? But to everybody out there, I don't want them to, in any way, shape, or form, have a misconception on what I'm saying. It's a true blessing. Don't get me wrong. Only thing is that when you do get your hands on it, do the right thing by it. Don't go out there bragging about it. Don't go out there trying to make other people feel like they don't have something. No, invest in the people. Invest in the, like I said, in the education. Invest into making people better. A lot of people run around with money and they feel like since they got money, they got power. Bullshit. That doesn't exist. And obviously we're seeing it happening right now.
The Locks have called. They disagree with Pitbull. Money, power, respect, the key to life.
The Locks. Matter of fact, that was a great record too.
By the way, I want to tell you, one of your most underrated songs, International Love with Chris Brown.
Underrated?
I think it's underrated.
Shit, man. It's great for me around the world. I think it's so close to like 10 million, so I think it did all right.
But do people say, like, when people come up to you, what's the song that they say is like, what's the one that they know you most for?
Oh, man, there's so many different records because I live in a lot of different worlds,
right?
You know, and people don't get that. Example, what's the irony behind my career? Yeah. I go to the Grammys in English and win a Grammy for my Spanish album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But I go to the Latin Grammys and win a Grammy for my English song.
Right.
You know?
But isn't that exactly what would motivate? Like at Slam, isn't that the story to tell at Slam?
Exactly. And no, I got a better story about the Grammys. And I almost love it that we can put on
next year 3 for the family. Watch me.
That's punning them.
I know.
Yeah, and may rest in peace, one of the best. And big shout out to TS and big shout out to Fat Joe because they've always opened doors and showed love.
He came the other night.
Here's the crazy thing. I went and performed at the Grammys.
Right.
I brought out Sofia Vergara. When I say I mean we don't do this without a team, all right? Sofia Vergara came out to a record called Taxi. Huge record for us in Latin America, okay? She comes out. I bring out Robin Thicke, Travis Barker, and Joe Perry.
You can't get more diverse.
We perform bad, man. We take over the whole stage, and you know what the Grammy does? They run the credits on us. They run the credits on us. We don't get hot. I just looked at it, I said, well, you know what? And which I said in the record, went to the Grammys and got all the credits, literally. But I'm a hustler, boy. You can't get rid of me. And what I mean by that is this, okay? We're going to own the Grammys one day. We're going to own the Grammys one day. And when we own a piece of the Grammys, that's one thing I put up. I said, don't you ever disrespect an artist and run the credits on them like that. You don't do those kind of things. But that's cool. It didn't bother me. It motivated me. Yeah. And that's what I say about as far as the journey, as far as the money, as far as the fame, as far as the career. All I take it is if I have a platform to be able to speak to people, just to motivate them and inspire them and let them know the biggest thing or the best thing you could ever have in life, no matter what you acquire or what you become, is stay humble, partner. Because black, white, pink, purple, orange, Latin, Asian doesn't mean nothing. It's a human race, and we all bleed the same blood, breathe the same air, and put our pants on one leg at a time. The minute you think you're better than somebody like that, you're full of shit. Bottom line.
Last couple of quick things here with Pitbull. He's got Pitbull's Globalization Radio. That's on Sirius XM Slam Radio, where it's amazing. The charter school in Miami is giving kids the opportunity to broadcast. Right. And he's got the tour. He's got the best, the greatest hits album here.
Working hard. Thank God.
Quick hits. Ready? Okay. Better dressed Miami resident, Pitbull or Pat Riley?
Oh, Pat Riley, man. Oh, man, that's a no-brainer. Man, that or you got to put in Tony or Manolo or Sosa from Scarface. You know?
Pat Riley's the god in that spot.
Nah, he is.
Are you offended if I say when I think of Mr. 305, I think of Udonis Haslem?
UD is the real one, and that's why they always keep him on the heat. Because if you see, even when LeBron, Bosh, and Wade were down there, they kept UD. Because anytime anybody would step to anybody who was the first one to get up in their face and say, hey, check this out, partner, that ain't going to happen.
That's what's up.
So, yes, that's one time for UD, God bless. And I've been watching him since we were in high school together, not the same high school, but playing ball in the whole clique. So one time for UD, yes sir, Dade County, born and raised, 305. You know what they do.
In a dream hypothetical world, Pitbull can do one track either with Big or Pac. Who are you choosing?
Oh,
not who's better. Who's better with you is what I'm asking.
Oh man, I gotta do it with Big, man.
Because
I love Big. I love Pac also, but I love Big's storytelling. I love the way he would play with words. Pac is genius. And obviously we've seen what he could do, but just to be able to work with Big would be a tremendous honor.
Cuban sandwich or late night Ray's pizza in Miami?
Ray Pizza.
I've heard you talk about this. Tell people about this. You're on like a strict diet, but when you break it, that's your joint, right?
No, I'm not on a strict diet. I just watch what I eat. You know,
that's a strict diet to people like us.
Yeah, I got you. Man, yeah, I gotta do. That's one of my gifts to myself.
I've stumped Pitbull. Somehow the one question that stumped him, he's not ready for.
Yeah, that Ray's pizza man is something else. Okay, and the waitress is there, something else too.
That I like, man. All right, give me a slice then. All right.
How do you keep that so private? I guess it's a BlackBerry, man. Oh man. Okay,
the old school approach.
More recently, you've flown commercial or walked into a supermarket by yourself?
Wow. None of them, to be honest.
Yeah,
to be honest, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Do you miss that stuff at all?
I definitely do.
What's the one thing that you say to your team? God, I'm appreciative of all of this, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if I could blank.
If I could actually go to the club and have a great time without somebody maybe videotaping or texting or Instagramming or something.
So your friends right next to you here.
Yeah.
They could go out if they want.
Yes, sir.
They could go to the club.
I live vicariously through them, to be honest.
They could do whatever they could literally be getting it on in the center of the dance floor. Doesn't matter. You do it, forget it.
Forget about it. Yeah. So therefore you work so hard. You start off this attitude where you have nothing to lose, then you work so hard, and then all of a sudden you have everything to lose.
Right.
So therefore, you got to be very careful on what you do and how you do it, especially in this day and age with technology. And
can't you put a hat on? You know, put a hat on.
I do put a hat on to walk right quick through certain things. But either or, if I'm in the club getting loose, I'm in the club getting loose.
Right,
you know
right.
So what do? I take the club in international waters, and I have all the fun trouble I could possibly have.
And people don't notice.
And they don't on a boat.
Yeah, they're out there for a reason too.
Right. All right, let's make sure we promote everything properly. We have the Greatest Hits album that's out now.
Oh man,
we have
God.
Slam Radio, which is coming to Sirius XM. We have Globalization. We have, just go to your Twitter at Pitbull. You have the Enrique Iglesias tour that you've been on.
We just finished that up, and I want to say thank you to Enrique Iglesias for always giving us an amazing opportunity. And as far as the Greatest Hits album, the single that's out right now is called Jungle, featuring the Stereotypes and E40. And a big shout out to the Stereotypes who just got nominated for a Grammy, and they're the ones that produced 24 K-Magic for Bruno Mars, and what's the other one that did? That's What I Like for them too.
Yeah.
So them boys are on a roll, and for me to be on a record with them is an honor.
Your big sister,
and he fought it, man. That's for shizzle. He created all the slang.
But now I just think of Draymond Green when I think of E40 because they had that commercial together. That's what I think of now. The girl you claim is your big sister, even though how you could look at her as a sister is beyond me. J-Lo and A-Rod, we're happy with that, Pitbull?
Oh.
I kind of love that.
Yeah, man, I'm happy for them and A-Rod for sure. A-Rod's a Miami boy, so, man, you're doing your thing. Keep it up. I'm actually partners with A-Rod in a lot of businesses. So
of course you are.
And so we're partners now. He's with Jennifer Lopez, so it all works out.
Right.
I've done a lot of business with Jennifer.
Mr. Worldwide. He's not Mr. 305 to me. You're Udonis Haslem, man. Although I think he's
That's right.
With
hey,
us.
one time Udonis hey, UD, you officially Mr. 305 now. And you know what's funny is because who gave me that nickname was Trick Daddy.
Really?
So Trick Daddy
Who
called
was
him
Mr. 305 before any of you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's the mayor of Dade County.
I'm actually Mr. JEW. I don't know if you know that about me.
How does that work out?
Not well. Pitbull, get his album. Listen to him on Sirius XM. Thank you, Pitbull.
Baby.
Evan and Babs. Morning, man.
Oh, man. My pleasure. Thank y'all. Yeah.